like the economy, whether we have a job, whether our kids can go to college, whether we're going to lose our home, what America is going to be like. When something, is not important, like economics and politics, that we say, don't bother me with the facts, I got my mind made up. Folks, that's what's going on here. So just humor me. Let's pretend just for a minute that this is preparing America to be in a global sports contest that we must win, to rebuild the middle class and give poor people a chance to work their way into it and give our people a chance to rebuild their dreams. Let's just pretend for a minute that the facts matter. This is what I want you to tell people. Everybody you can between now and the election. This election is a tale of dueling stories. The Republican story goes something like this. Hey, okay, we left America in a big hole. But what the heck, we gave them 21 months to get out, and they're not out. And in the failure to get out, they spent too much money and gave us too much government. It's creeping socialism, going to destroy the fabric of individual freedom and entrepreneurship in America. You got to get rid of them before they do some real damage and put us in there. And read here the fine print will tell you exactly what we're going to do. The Democrat story goes something like this. They're right, we didn't dig out of the hole, but we followed your daddy's first rule. We did quit digging. We did quit digging, and we do have plans to get us out of the hole. The last thing in the wide world you want to do is to bring back the shovel brigade. Instead, give us 2 more years. That's just half the time you gave them to dig the hole. We'll get you out of it, and you will see. And if you don't like it, you can hold us accountable. But for goodness sakes, don't go back to what got us in trouble in the first place. So all these polls show that you got about a 50-50 division in Colorado across a wide range of races on which story has more juice. How does our story win? You go back and ask the questions and give factual answers. First, where are we? We have recovered 70% of our lost annual product, GDP, from when this thing bottomed out about 6 months into President Obama's first year. That's another thing, by the way. For the Republicans to act like we should hold the Democrats responsible for everything that happened from the moment the president took his hand off the Bible defies belief. It was the worst financial collapse since the Depression. Imagine you get behind a railroad locomotive going straight downhill at 200 miles an hour. You think you could stop it in 10 seconds? It stopped going downhill about July 1st, 2009. So, since then we've recovered 70% of our lost income. How's the competition doing? Remember, we're playing sports now. So we've got to look at the facts. Germany, 60%. Japan, 50%. United Kingdom, 30%. What does that mean? It means against the competition, we're not doing too bad. That is not cause for applause because no one feels better. But it should be cause for pause before you go back and do what got us in trouble in the first place. Right. We are doing better than the competition. If you tell that to your neighbors, they can't dispute that because that is a fact. It's troubling. Okay, second thing, so what are we going to do? Well, all the new jobs are in the rest of the 30% getting out of the hole, and when we're out, going into the future. So we have to grow more jobs, finance them, make sure people are educated and trained to do them, deal with the deficit long term. So what does that mean? Where are the jobs going to be? Look at any study. The new jobs for America in this decade will have to come from small business, green energy, high technology, bringing back manufacturing, and infrastructure. Those are the 5 areas we can grow lots of jobs in a hurry. Where's the money going to be if we can't have another stimulus? There's plenty of money there. Corporations have $1 trillion in the bank. We just need to figure out how to get them to spend it. And you bailed out the banks, and by the way, they're going to pay back more than 92% of that money. You may get it all back, but we know more than 92% of it's coming back. They now have $1.8 trillion in cash not committed to loans. At conservative ratios, not that Wall Street meltdown stuff, conservative ratios, they could make $18 trillion in loans. This whole thing would be over day after tomorrow. Okay? So the money is there. You sure we can fill all the jobs? Two issues. You heard one. The senator said, from the time I was born after World War II until the day I left office, we ranked first in the world in the percentage of our young adults with four-year degrees. We're 15th. Even if you take the overall population, we're tied for 9th with 4 other countries. This is really troubling. This is a prescription for economic disaster. And you want to hear something that's really troubling? We're still first in the percentage of young people going to college. They're getting killed by the debt burdens and the cost and the economics, and they're dropping out of school. Another problem. The United States has today 3 million job openings that have been open now for a month or more. Hard to believe, isn't it, in this lousy economy? And the main reason is that even though hundreds of people may be applying for these jobs, they're not necessarily equipped with the skills necessary to do the jobs. A little plant in Georgia wants to hire 22 tool and die workers, 500 people apply, 2 of them trained as tool and die workers. So, what do? Michael Bennett and his opponent have very different views. Let's look at the jobs issue. He voted for the stimulus. If I had been president, and you know how much I hate deficits, I would have supported this stimulus. If the president had asked for $200 billion more, I would have voted for that. Why? Because you want a balanced budget when you have growth. When there is shrinkage in the economy and the bottom is about to fall out, you have to stop it. When nobody will make anybody a loan to put somebody to work, you have to put people to work. When interest rates are zero, it doesn't cost you much to finance your debt. It was the right thing to do. And guess what? Guess what? Their argument that it didn't work, you've heard them, haven't you? They said, look, this stimulus just proves that government spending doesn't work. It failed. It didn't get us out of the hole. The hole was $3 trillion deep. The stimulus was $800 billion. 2/3 of the stimulus was not designed to get you out of the hole. It was to let you swim instead of drown down there. And 100 million American families got a modest tax cut so they could go to the grocery store and keep the grocery open. Don't forget how bad it was and how scared we were for a couple of months. It was the right thing to do, but it couldn't get us out of the hole. About 1/3 of it was designed to give money to schools like this, which he got for Colorado, so they wouldn't have to lay the teachers off, or lay the nurses off at the health clinics, or lay the firemen off at the local government. So, that left you at about $272 billion to fill the $3 trillion hole. It was never going to fill the hole. But every independent study shows that more jobs were created than the expert predicted, and the unemployment rate would be 2% higher today if it had not been for the stimulus. So thank you, Senator. You did the right thing today. His opponent says that a stimulus was a terrible idea, and he joins his colleagues in saying, vote for us and we will cancel the rest of the projects. It's a disaster, folks. It will cost you tens of thousands of jobs and help to undermine the leadership we are just now regaining for clean energy. Same thing is true in small business. He has supported loan guarantees to get the banks to loan money to small business, credits to make the banks more attractive to get the loans, improvements in the microcredit facilities. They say, the Republicans, this is all a waste of money. All we need to do is make permanent the temporary tax cuts for millionaires. Just people with incomes over $1 million cost over $600 billion over the next 10 years added to the debt. I can tell you, I love saying this because I never had any money like I got out of the White House. You know, if I were selfish, I'd be for these Republicans. They're going to make me a lot of money. And that 23% sales tax, you talk about a disaster. 23% on every home. How long do you think it'll be before we start selling homes again? 95% of the American people will get the shaft for that deal. Be a great deal for me if you really think I need more.